I want to be a father one day and don't necessarily have a good example of that in my life. And I don't want to, pardon my French, fuck it up, which is why I'm starting the podcast. What's up, everybody? Here we go. I have been waiting for this moment for the last week or so. Okay, context. This is a new website. Not a website, dude. This is a new podcast. And in this podcast, I want to sit down every week, hopefully every week, and dissect great stories. Over the last couple of years, I have been obsessed, and I mean obsessed, with storytelling. How do you tell a story that gets someone to not only listen, doesn't just capture their attention, but get them to feel something, get them to care? How do you do that? And I felt like I wanted a space where I could nerd out on how storytellers, great storytellers, filmmakers, artists of all kinds, marketers, entrepreneurs, because all those people tell stories. How do they do that? What are some of the techniques that they use to evoke emotions that we all feel? We all feel those emotions, but don't necessarily get to discuss. How do you make someone feel understood? I've watched movies, that made me feel like I know exactly what you're going through. I've watched movies that made me feel like, oh shit, like someone somewhere else feels like that, or goes through that. Like some emotions that we all feel silently and feel like we only feel them. I only feel them. A lot of other people feel those things, and great stories tap into that, I feel like. And I want to learn how technically they do that. It's going to be, we're going to nerd out. We're going to look at technically how great storytellers do that. On a bigger picture, I'm very interested in understanding myself. I feel like I'm always evolving, and I have a solid understanding of who I think I am. But sometimes I do things and I'm like, who the hell is that person? Like, that person is not what I thought I was. And sometimes I feel like I'm contradicting with myself. Myself meaning with my view of the world or my values or my beliefs and whatnot. And there's a lot of things that I want to explore. There's a lot of aspects of life that I haven't experienced that I want to experience. I want to be a father one day. I'd like to have a family and have kids. And that's something that I do not know how to do, and don't necessarily have a good example of that in my life. And I don't want to, pardon my French, fuck it up. I want to do it right. And I don't know what doing it right is. How do you be a good dad? I have no clue. Like, what does it take? What does it take to be a good dad? I don't understand that. There's a lot of people who have gone through that, who have 2 kids, 5 kids, who can shed some light on what it takes, what I would need to do. Maybe it's not what I would need to do, maybe who I would need to be. Like, who do you need to be a person who's capable of raising and being a good example, setting a good example to another human being, from when they are nothing to when they are a grown-up. But through different stories and through different people, at least hopefully I can get to explore those aspects of my life that I have dull or low, zero, close to zero. It's not always zero. Knowledge about. That's why I started a project called Ndayisaba, which I wanted to explore what it's like to be another person through photography. So this is sort of, the podcast is sort of like an extension of that. When I started Ndayisaba, I meant to go out and, take photographs of strangers and hopefully through the images document different people from all kinds of walks of life, experiencing different life in different ways, and maybe that would help me understand some things about life. And it has, but it's very difficult for me to get out every single day because I have a full-time job, doing this and that. Life can be hectic, and I end up not finding enough time to go out and do that. But at least I can sit down every week, look at stories, learn storytelling, grow as a person through, carefully studying the life experiences that are documented in those stories. And down the line, I'd love to sit down with people. I'd love to, have conversations that with different people who have gone through experiences that I haven't gone through, and try to learn from them. And I do not know how I'm going to combine the storytelling, technical nerding out part of the podcast with, conversations with people, which is why I'm starting the podcast. I'm starting this, really, really rough. I don't have necessarily professional equipment to podcast. I do not know anything about podcasting, and I've been thinking about how I want it to be like, and coming up with strategies of things that I would need to cover, like pillars, content pillars and stuff. Is this going to be a business type of venture? Do I want it to be a business type of venture, or do I just want to cover the type of things that I want to cover? And at some point it felt like I was just wasting time because I end up not getting anywhere. But by starting the podcast, as sketchy as it is, I would at least get, better as I do the podcast. I have learned by starting my YouTube channel back in 2022, I think. I've learned that the only way to know and to get better at making videos, whereas to make videos, and the only way to figure out what I want to talk about, I have an idea, like I just mentioned. I have an idea of what I think I need to explore through the podcast and why I'm starting the podcast. That's the intention. What the podcast end up becoming, I have no clue, and there's no way to know that than just diving in and starting. So here we go. Really excited to sit down every week and nerd out on storytelling, nerd out on stories, learn from them, meet people, explore what it's like to be human, and explore what it's like to be me. I can't wait to look back when it's 100 episodes and I only have 10 subscribers or people listening. It's going to be a journey. And I just want to enjoy it. Thank you so much for listening. I do not even know if anybody's going to see this, but if you end up getting to this point, thank you. I appreciate you. I'll see you next week. Peace.